Hi, this is Ron Ball, and this is Choose Greatness, your key to a happier, better, greater life. Now, we're doing something a little bit unusual today. Many of you have watched us for weeks and months, and you've been a part of our very faithful, committed audience. Thank you very much. God bless you. But this opportunity is a little bit different today. We've just done a series of programs with my friend Jeff Keaton, the president of a great organization, Renew a Nation, that focuses on giving God's worldview to children, teenagers, and students. Well, we didn't even leave the studio today. We didn't take a break. We didn't eat, did we, Jeff? We did nothing. We just sat at this table. We looked the same. We haven't moved because I looked at Jeff. He's got to go to the airport in a few minutes. And I said, wow, could we just get one more show in? And he says, let's do it right now. And I said, I'm in. And here we are for all of you. So we're going to do something we've never done before. Stay in the studio and continue what we left off in the next show. So again, quick. Tell people, call people, tell them, you got to hear Jeff again, got to hear Ron, got to hear the show. Get on the phone, text, go, do it right now. We'll start, but you can bring them in, you can pull them in, that's great. And one more thing, remember when we finish to email me at choosegreatness.com, click on the email icon and tell us what you're learning in these programs so we can continue to teach what we want you to get from God, what you need, not what we think you need, but what you need. And we want to hear from God and we want to hear from you. Okay, now, Jeff, we don't want to use up any more of your time, but I just want to do a quick summation to lead you into where you are. We've talked about various elements, facets of Jeff's ministry. He is a speaker, he's an author, a little bit of an administrator, although you have people helping you with that, which you need. He is going to my home state in the morning. He'll be speaking in Paducah, Kentucky, which is almost in Missouri. You're way over the western end of my home state, and we want to get him out of here, let him make his flight. So let me just give you a quick intro to what he's going to say. He's talked about his book, his magazine, his ministry. Well, I want to pull it all together right now. So I want you to start with your vision, what God's called you to do, and I want you to give just a quick explanation of the different types of ministry. And I know you got a great Christian camp, and we want our viewers to know about your camp. Can you handle all that?
Oh, absolutely.
I believe you can. Okay, go.
So our vision at Renew a Nation is to transform culture by giving millions of new children a biblical worldview, all right? We sum up our mission using 3 words. We promote the cause of biblical worldview education. We support it by supporting Christian schools, Christian homeschools, and ministries that reach public school students. And we expand it by being a catalyst to start new Christian schools, new homeschools, and new ministries that reach public school students. We're in a phase right now where by the end of 2020, we're trying to see 100,000 new children developing a biblical worldview, all right? So everybody goes, well, that's a great idea. How in the world are you doing it? So we have 7 divisions of ministry. First of all is what we call our promotion division. We have the Renew a Nation Review magazine. I speak all across America in churches, conferences, Christian school events, all those kinds of things. I spoke at a church of 5,000 people in Orlando, the largest Hispanic church in Orlando, Iglesia El Calvario. And the senior pastor heard me speak at a conference, and he brought me in and he interpreted for me to his wonderful, congregation. And they later told me that something like 70-some new kids went and signed up for their Christian school after that session.
That's great.
And so that's kind of, when I say promote, we're trying to help parents and pastors understand that what we have been doing for the last 40 years hasn't worked, and we need to get intentional about helping children develop a biblical worldview. So that's promotion. Second one is Christian School Startup Division. So a community wants to start a Christian school, but they don't know what to do.
Now, you've already done this. You've already helped start some Christian schools.
Yes, we started.
Like how many?
About a dozen right now.
That's good.
In the last about 3 or 4 years. And
because it's not easy to do that.
No, it's actually one of the most difficult things we do is to start new schools. We did just help Answers in Genesis start 12 Stone Christian Academy in Northern Kentucky.
I'm familiar with them, right?
This fall. and we're working with schools around the country. So we do new school startups, and it's really comprehensive. We come in, and if you're thinking about that, somebody out there is thinking about starting a Christian school, please get in touch with us early in the process. You know, we have people call us in June, and they're starting in August, and they've done everything backwards. And it's a big endeavor. And so, but we have a great program to help start Christian schools. Then the third division is Christian school revitalization. So
now, these are existing Christian schools.
Yes, yes. So Christian schools, as I told you in an earlier show, you know, they're struggling. A lot of schools are struggling. But we've been able to go. We took a school that was really struggling. A church took over an existing Christian school that was down in June of 2015 to 34 students. They were almost gone. And we went in, and in our revitalization program, God brought a world-class corporate executive to me. He has an engineering degree and an MBA. He did it in the corporate world for 20 plus years, went in and rebuilt organizations. God called him to leave that career and come work at Renew Nation. He's now our chief operating officer. We go into these schools. We went into that school, and we assessed it from top to bottom. We had to release a lot of employees because they weren't able to do what we need to do. That was in June of 2015. We had 34 students. This fall, 2 years later, they enrolled 203 kids in that school. We rebuilt that school from the inside. We're doing that all across America. It's a tremendous program, and we're like a lifeline to struggling Christian schools. We evaluate every aspect of the school.
So if you're watching and you either are a part of a Christian school that could use some revitalization, that's not a criticism.
No.
Everybody needs renewal. Every
Absolutely.
organization periodically needs renewal. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Call them, write them, contact them. Or if you're in an area that does not have Christian education available, call them, write them. They exist to help your kids learn not just about Jesus, but to how to operate in the world, how to think critically and correctly, how to make a difference. They are foundational. This is a God-given resource. Keep going.
Okay, so our fourth division is what we call our Student Scholarship Division. So we're a tax credit foundation in the state of Virginia.
Now, explain that, tax credit foundation.
So 17 states now have laws that people who owe their state taxes can give to a tax credit foundation, and every law is a little bit different, but then they get a pure tax credit for their state taxes, and that can go to help kids go to private schools.
That's tremendous.
So,
and you can tell people, if they contact you, you can tell them if they're in that state or not?
Yes, there's 17 states. The best law in the country is in Florida. Almost 80,000 children are attending Christian schools in Florida right now because of the business tax credit.
And so the parents are able to pay for it because of that tax credit?
Yes, well actually their tuition
is
paid.
If you're in Florida, do you know about this? How do they get that? Is this on their form, their tax form? How do they know about it?
Actually, if they would contact almost any Christian school in the state of Florida, they know about it. In Florida, the most popular program is called Step Up. Okay? And there are tons. But like in the state of Virginia, we have a program that's new there. We just got the law passed in the last couple years, and we gave away almost $1 million in scholarships this past year, literally wrote checks for kids to go to Christian schools. So what I want to say about that is, if you're in a state and they have a tax credit law, make sure you're taking advantage of it or donating to it, to whatever foundation's available in your state. And if you're in a state where they don't have a tax credit law, talk to your legislators and encourage them, because it's really growing rapidly.
Now, you may or may not do this in your organization, Jeff, because you can only do so many things effectively. But do you have any way, let's say if a mom or dad, one of you, says, well, my state doesn't have that option, I would like to influence my legislators. Can they contact you and you can give them resources and guidance of how they can influence their state legislature?
Absolutely. We have a director of scholarship development we just hired out of the corporate world as well.
This is awesome.
And he is leading that program. And really, at the end of the day, we might open a 501c4 so we can lobby for this.
Now tell them what that is. Not everybody knows what that is.
We have a 501c3 and we can only lobby a little bit.
That's your traditional nonprofit organization.
Yes. And a 501c4 is a nonprofit that is allowed to lobby more for laws.
Right.
So the scholarship programs around the country are really transformational, and our new Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, is 100% for this.
I was with Betsy on Tuesday.
Okay.
And spent some time with her.
So she's passionate about these, and we are even hearing talk of a federal tax credit. Now that could be absolutely revolutionary. So if you're a legislator, or if you know legislators, or you're politically active, you need to be talking to your legislators about this, because it's really powerful stuff.
Yeah, it's your money. Yeah. It's your money, and to get a tax credit to pay for your children to get the kind of education you want them to have for God, That is a powerful thing we have to take advantage of today. Okay,
Exactly.
keep going.
So our fifth division is what we call Church and Family Ministry Division. So we want to reach public school students. We think it's ideal to put your child in a Christian school or Christian homeschool. It's one of the best ways to help them develop a biblical worldview. However, there will always be millions of students in public schools. So we thought about, trying to go into the schools. It's really hard to do that. So we've decided that our two best ways to reach public school students are through their parents and through their churches, okay? So I just hired Dr. Josh Mulvihill. He's been the pastor to families and children at Grace.
You mentioned him on a previous program. Yes.
Grace Church, Eden Prairie. Josh had 1,200 children under 6th grade in his ministry every single week at Grace. He also had a phenomenal ministry to public school teachers. He had 175 public school teachers in his ministry alone in that church.
No, that's something I've not heard much about. A ministry to public school teachers.
Yes.
Who many of them who are Christians. They're in a difficult environment. They love the children. They need help.
Yes. Let me just send them to one of the best ministries. If you're a public school teacher, I believe it's called the Christian Education Association of America.
Say it again.
Christian Education Association. I'm trying to think. I believe that's the exact name. But if you look it up, they have a phenomenal resources for Christian public school teachers. But anyhow, we hired Josh because what he is going to do is help churches look at their training programs for 0 to 18-year-old and make sure they're actually helping their kids develop a biblical worldview. We have a lot of fun and games going on in churches, but far too many kids who are not getting biblical worldview at school, the church isn't doing enough. It's an hour or two a week, and half the time it's a pizza party for teenagers. And so it's all good, but we're going...
As long as the pizza's good. Right?
Exactly. As long as it's Papa John's. But so what we're doing is Josh is going to help assess churches and then help them build a program that will really do a great job at developing biblical worldview. And then the other thing he's doing is helping parents. He just released his book, Parenting Your Children for Marriage. It's phenomenal. And he has a resource he wrote called The Biblical Role of Grandparenting. And it's phenomenal.
How great is that?
He's got a conference coming up where he'll have about 1,000 grandparents
God bless these grandparents.
Yes.
Now, you said he's having a conference?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I don't know the dates. It's held at Grace Church in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Recently, if they will come to our website, we can steer, or contact us, we can steer them
and that's
to
on
that.
the screen, I think, again. Just say it as well.
RenewANation.org.
RenewANation.org, which is, of course, if you're not familiar, is short for organization, org. Right?
Yes. And if you'll contact us, we'll put you in touch with Josh, and he can let you know about that. He's actually holding conferences around the country.
Good. For grandparents, I love it.
Yes.
Because I cannot even adequately thank my parents or my wife's parents for what they've done for our children.
Yes.
I mean, God bless grandparents.
Absolutely.
We need to honor grandparents, and the Bible teaches to honor those who are older and honor their contributions. So I'm excited about that.
Well, it's a really new thing, kind of, and Josh is being overwhelmed. He's got a PhD in family ministry, and he wrote his dissertation on the biblical role of grandparents. And so we're getting calls from all over the country. He's doing conferences, and
that's great.
So a lot going on there. The next division is our Christian homeschool division we talked about earlier.
Yes.
But if you're looking to homeschool your child and you just need advice, you need help, you don't know exactly what to do, we'll consult with you at no cost. Contact Renew a Nation and we'll help you walk that journey. Again, our mission is to give millions of new children a biblical worldview through any and all means. That's why we help Christian schools, we help homeschoolers, we help public school ministries. We're dead set on giving kids a biblical worldview through any and all means.
Now, tell us about, you mentioned your new addition from Minnesota.
Yes.
You mentioned his work. Who else works with you? What are their skill sets? Who do you have, and how can they help our viewers?
So we have, so I have, my corporate team is made up of people who have come out of the corporate world, and they're just professionals.
They know how to run things.
They know how to run things. But then we also have on my board Dr. Glenn Schultz. He wrote the book Kingdom Education.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic book. Okay. Dr. Schultz has been on my board for years. We have a guy named Ken Klein, who is a world-class businessman who is on our coaching team. So when we go into revitalize a school, we take 1 or 2 of our employees and then we hire contract coaches to meet the specific needs of that school. So Ken is an organizational guru. He's a board genius. He's just written a brand new book on board governance in Christian schools. So we have a number of experts like that on our team that help us get the job done.
Excellent. So what the reason I'm having you do this is because I want you watching to understand that this is a great resource for you and your families. That's why we have Jeff on this program, because we want to, my goodness, I just knocked the whole world over. You know, that's the exciting thing about television. You never know what's going to happen, do you?
Exactly.
So we'll just let the world stay there, and that's okay. God's bigger than the world anyway. And just disregard that. But that's why we want you to understand that this is a resource-rich organization. And we are happy on this program to partner with you. So these are opportunities for our viewers. Now, real quick, insert your magazine. Again,
Okay.
You've said it before, but let our viewers know how to get it and what it will do for them.
It's the Renew a Nation Review, and if you'll contact us at the email on the screen or at the website on the screen, we'll send it to you at no cost. And it's a great resource to help you understand why it's so important to give your child a biblical worldview and how to do that.
Now, and again, this is articles, very practical, I
Yes,
assume. It's not
absolutely.
just theory.
No, it's very practical. What's happening in the culture and how we can combat it and that kind of thing.
So you watching can have arms to fight back with.
Absolutely. It's
You're going to have
tremendous tool.
ammunition to use,
Yes.
and that's a great resource. Now, one thing we have not done on this program yet, and I know you have more to say about your organization, all your branches of ministry.
One more.
But, well, I'll tell you what, finish that, then I have a question for
Okay.
you. Let me just pull out and let you finish
The
that.
7th Division is a gift from God. It's called Manderley Christian Camp and Conference Center. And I met a lady.
I think we have some pictures of that. Yes.
I think so.
Yes, go ahead.
Some of the new buildings we just
Right.
built. But I met a lady, and she had a dream. She has a 2,000-acre ranch in Tennessee, and she had a dream that her land would be used to impact children, okay? And beautiful ranch with 800 head of cattle. And God brought us together. She said, "Can you help me fulfill my dream?" And by the grace of God, we can, and we did. And so we literally, in the last 16 months, she gave us 800 of the 2,000. Someday we'll own the entire 2,000. And we put in 15 new buildings. We can sleep 182, and we're hosting biblical worldview training camps for middle and senior high
You've
school
already
kids.
started those.
We've started it. And we are hosting biblical worldview training camps for teachers. So we're bringing teachers, Christian school and public school teachers in, and teaching them biblical worldview and teaching them how to integrate it into their classrooms.
Now, do you have a faculty for this?
I bring in a group of speakers. You know, we bring in, I teach, and then others teach on our team. And we just got the buildings done in June. We've already had 225 teachers there, and it has been phenomenal. So it's a gift from God. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger in the years to come. And so that's just our 7th
So
division.
if people contact you about this camp,
Yes.
is there something on your website that will direct them specifically to the camp?
Yes, manderleycamp.org, I believe, is the website. But if you go to renewanation.org, you can find that as well.
Okay, so there's a way to link over to
Yes.
that. Where in Tennessee is it?
It's about 50 minutes northwest of Chattanooga.
Okay, so it's in a great
It's
area.
in the Sequatchie Valley.
So it's near a lot of metropolitan
Yes.
population centers. Atlanta's not far.
Right, Nashville and
Charlotte,
Knoxville is
Nashville, they're
close.
all so this is drivable for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And are you ever going to do any focus on the family as a whole there?
Absolutely.
Like moms and dads with their children. Do you ever
Yes.
do that?
Yes, Dr. Mulvihill is going to be putting on parenting conferences,
Good.
grandparenting
Good.
conferences, and those kinds of things at the camp.
That's great. Well, God bless you, Jeff. That's excellent. Now, I have a personal question for you.
Okay.
We have a great mutual friend, Jeff Yeager, who is a phenomenally successful Christian businessman. Has a business that generates hundreds of millions of dollars all over the world. And Jeff is actually the one who brought us together.
Yes.
And introduced us, and I am very happy he did. So Jeff watches this program, so Jeff, thank you very much. And we honor you for that.
Yes.
But I want to ask you something personal. That was our introduction to one another, and you and I have very similar thinking. We have very almost identical beliefs. I think we get along pretty good. At least I like you a lot.
I like
and,
you.
And thank you very much. But I want you to tell our viewers something about you personally, about your marriage, your wife. You've mentioned your daughters. I want to hear what they're doing. In other words, I want to kind of flesh you out just a little bit so they'll know the human being Jeff Keaton is. So don't be overly modest. We'll give God the glory. But let's talk about your family. Let's just talk about that for a moment and give them a little bio of who you are as a family man.
So I married my high school sweetheart at 19 years old, Michelle. We liked each other since we were 14. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary.
Congratulations.
I don't look that old, I know it.
What day?
August the 1st.
Oh, you just did? Yeah, a couple
August
months
the 1st.
ago.
That was our 30th anniversary. And we have two daughters. Juliana is 24 and Heidi is 21. They're both recently married. Juliana and her husband work at our ranch in Tennessee, the camp.
Great.
She married a young man whose grandparents were Amish. And he wasn't raised Amish, but he has every Amish skill imaginable. He just custom built 182 beds for us.
My goodness, God keeps bringing you the right people.
I'll tell you what, well, he put a roof on my garage when he was dating my daughter, just volunteered at 20 years old and did such a phenomenal job. I just looked at her and said, you can marry him now. That's what I was looking for when I was thinking of son-in-laws. My youngest daughter and her new husband, they just got married this summer. They teach at Tuscaloosa Christian School in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Right.
He's a football and basketball coach there, as well as teaches some high school courses. And she actually is doing her student teaching there this year, and will start teaching.
So they are living proof of what you've taught.
Yes. They're passionate about being in the ministry. They love the Lord, and we're so humbled by that. We really are.
So you had the opportunity, I'm sure, to lead both your daughters to Christ fairly early?
Yes, I did. Obviously, I started telling them about Jesus as soon as they could know. But to be honest with you, I'll give credit where credit is due. I had a phenomenal children's pastor, and her name was Miss Patty. And she won the hearts of the children in our church. She was a passionate children's worker. She loved them. And she had an altar in children's church. Now, that's kind of rare, but she had an altar, and both of my girls gave their life to Christ when they can remember at Miss Patty's altar in children's church.
And then you, as a Christian dad, could follow that up and disciple them and train them and develop them.
Absolutely. And here's what I say to people. Actually, as parents, we need other adult Christians to pour into our children's lives. So people would come to me and say, Pastor Jeff, my kids will do anything for you, but they won't do it for me. I said, same for me. They'd do anything for Miss Patty, but they struggled sometimes. I wanted to get on the platform and sing or something.
I understand.
So.
Well, now tell us a little more about your wife. What's she like? Give us a little view into her.
Okay,
her world.
My wife, Michelle, is a behind the scenes. You can guess what I am. I'm an expressive, driving personality.
How God wired you.
That's it. She is the perfect complement to me. She's my biggest fan. But if I ever make her get up and speak or anything, she says, don't you dare call on me to speak in public or anything like that. But she's kind of my rock of Gibraltar.
She knows her gifts.
Yes, she does. And she really rolls with the punches tremendously with me. I flew in from Canada Saturday night. We jumped in our Suburban, drove to Lexington, Kentucky Sunday. I did a funeral there Monday. She dropped me off at the airport in Lexington and drove back to Virginia yesterday. So it doesn't even faze her.
So she is totally supportive of you.
100%. And she's a great team member, and she's not unhappy when I'm gone. Now, when I drive trips, she goes with me a lot. When I fly like I'm doing this week to 3 or 4 places in a week, she doesn't want to do that. But she's a tremendous support and a tremendous blessing.
And I want those of you watching to notice how Jeff edified his wife. He built her up. He honored her, he shows respect for her, and he recognizes her strengths, and he works on the basis of what she can do without trying to pressure or force her to do something else. And that's just a good example. I had to say something. That's just a good example of a man who is taking care of his wife. Because not only did God call you to protect those two wonderful daughters, God called you to guard the heart and life of your wife.
Absolutely.
To protect her. So you're really partners in this ministry.
Yes. Let me just say this. If you're a dad or a husband out there, I'm going to be honest with you. There was a time in my ministry, I got so caught up in my ministry that I ignored my wife for a short time, maybe 2 or 3 years. It was in a big, huge building project. I got consumed. And that was totally unhealthy for her and for our marriage. And God was gracious to me, and she's a gracious woman, but the Lord awakened me to that. So let me just say to you husbands, if you happen to be watching this, love your wife. Don't ignore them. Pay attention to them. Treat them like a queen, and God will bless you for that.
Because one of the greatest gifts you can give to a wife from a husband is time.
Yes, absolutely.
Just time. I know my wife, Amy, feels very strongly about that.
Yes, that's one of the things my wife likes the most. She just likes being with me.
Just time together.
Yes,
Just time.
and listen to her occasionally.
Hey, why is that so hard for us?
I don't know.
We think we listen, but it depends on whether
Exactly.
they think we listen.
Exactly.
Well, you can see how valuable this ministry is and why I've had Jeff on this program. So remember to use his organization as your personal Christian educational resource, renewanation.org. renewanation.org. And I want to add 2 resources. Now, you can find out about his book on his site and Radical Faith, Living a Life of Radical Faith. You can get the magazine, all the things he's mentioned. If you'll just remember renewanation.org, even the camp, the one thing they need to remember is renewanation.org.
Absolutely.
Remember that, and you are good to go. But also remember the sponsoring website of this program, choosegreatness.com. Now, I have multiple resources on that I have organized for you to live a life of greatness. There are offerings on audio sets and books and material that deals with marriage and money and finances and relationships, all kinds of stuff. But I just want to focus on 2 things that connect to what Jeff has been teaching us during these last few programs. The book, Choose Greatness, that I wrote so that you and your children can have a simple guide to greatness that'll get you started, and the audio set, and I cannot stress this one enough, the audio set, The Success Test. We have distributed that. We have made that available to tens of thousands of people and have gotten a hurricane of response, good Florida terminology, a hurricane of response saying that was their breakthrough audio that took them to a new level. So remember The Success Test and Choose Greatness. Remember renewanation.org, and you've seen all that on your screen at different points and different times. Jeff, we're going to have a good relationship ongoing in the future. Please come back. God bless you. Pray for Jeff.
Yes.
Pray for his wife and children. Pray for his ministry. Pray for me. Pray for Choose Greatness. And whatever you do, choose greatness in your own life.